Hey everyone, what's going on? Welcome to a very special episode, the Genesys Cloud Community's Q&A show, the show where we answer your pressing questions in the Genesys Cloud online community. My name is Matt Lawson. I'm your online community manager, and today we have a special guest. If you've joined us over the past 52 episodes that we've done, you might have realized that every time we have a guest, it's been somebody from Genesys. Well, today we are breaking the mold because somebody is breaking Genesys Community records. And I could not think of a better way to celebrate their accomplishment than to have them on the show. Who could I be talking about? If you're in the community, you have no doubt. I'm talking about the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, Robert Wakefield-Carl. Robert Wakefield-Carl has been using Genesys products for 20 years. In the community, his stats are incredible. He's answered 3,400 questions in counting. He's participated in multiple betas and submitted over 200 ideas to our Ideas Lab. He's a great guy. We're so happy to be able to give him the additional honor of being the very first community member to become not just a rock star, but a double platinum rock star. Cue the animation. That's right. If you know our Rockstar program, it is how we like to reward Genesys community members, beta testers, idea submitters, or anybody who goes above and beyond to help us in the community and related programs. Robert is the first person to earn double platinum status, and man, does he deserve it. Originally, we were not sure if anybody would ever get a recognition like that, but this past month, 3 separate community members wrote in to say how much they appreciate Robert. So how could we not give him this honor? Robert has a great presentation where he talks about how he uses AI within Genesys. Then we're going to sit down with the above average Joes to answer some of your questions in the Genesys Cloud community. It's a great episode. I hope you have fun, and let's go ahead and get started. Robert, it's my pleasure to say welcome to the show. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Good. I actually, to prep for this, first of all, I know we talked a little bit before recording. I'm so excited to have you on the show. And I'm really excited because in an online community, there are so many people that you talk to, honestly, on a daily basis. Even if you and I aren't replying on threads, I see your name every day of my life. And so this morning, one of the things that I did is I went back through my email to find the very first time you and I talked.
Okay.
And it's all the way back in November of 2019. That's how far back we go.
Right.
So we've known each other for over 4 years. And I know you've been doing Genesys much longer than that. You've been in communities much longer than that. But from a personal perspective, I just wanted to say it's truly an honor to get to have this time with you. Thank you for coming on the show. I'm really looking forward to hanging out with you today.
And I'm honored with sharing. That's what I do every day. I just love it. It's in my blood. I just love sharing the technology with those around me. So
cool. And a couple of firsts here. We already mentioned it in the intro, but you are our very first double platinum community rock star. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
You're the first guest that we've had on the Q&A show who does not work for Genesys. So congratulations on breaking so much ground today. I always like it when we get to do that. And I've talked you up a little bit before, but please introduce yourself. I want to hear what you do at your company, a little bit about your company, just tell us everything.
Well, I got this big long title. It's a Senior Director of Contact Center Innovation Architects, which can never fit on a business card, which we don't have anymore anyway. So that's okay.
I actually, oddly enough, I just got mine. They're right here. I had to get them ready for the conference, but
right.
Cool. Go ahead.
Yeah, we're actually doing digital this year, so we'll see how that works.
Very fun.
Yes. Essentially, I am in charge of the Genesys practice innovation architects. And what we do is we have to understand Genesys technology, all 3 platforms, but focus on cloud. We have to disseminate new information to our sales teams and our CSMs and our solution consultants, just being able to train them on what Genesys does, how the new features work. We also do training every week on every new feature that comes out. As you know, we probably participate in just about every single beta that comes out. And we share that with our internal staff, so they're aware of what's coming and how it works. So we go through every feature every week. to let them know. Just get people informed. We also help customers understand technology, speech analytics and WFM and AI and bots and all this new technology that they're talking about. My job mainly is to coordinate those guys to really just play and have fun and share the technology.
Cool. Well, some of the stats that I shared at the beginning of this recording that you didn't get to see, in the community, you've done over 3,400 replies.
Yep.
Your knowledge of Genesys is profound. The book you've probably literally written. When I told you today I wanted to have you on the show and I said you can pick the topic, I was so very curious what you would come up with. Because sometimes it's like, some people ask, like, what should I talk about? You actually came to me with a couple of really good ideas. And I know we landed on one, but go ahead. What are you going to be talking about today?
Today's world, we just hear about AI and Chat GPT and everybody thinks that AI is just bots. And I just am really dumbfounded that people out there don't understand that AI is everywhere. Especially in Genesys and where it sits and really helping people understand that AI is not this big brother looking over your shoulder thing. It's something that can help each and every person, from customers to agents to quality managers to back end reporting and management of the system. If they look deeply, they'll see that AI is just part of the DNA of Genesys Cloud.
Absolutely. So I know you have a quick presentation that you wanted to go through. And I was really excited because it sounds like we're going to get Robert's kind of like best advice for how to use AI in Genesys. Is that right?
Pretty much, yeah. We're going to go through and look at what Genesys uses AI for and how you should start using it in your business or helping customers. It depends. We have a lot of partners on the community. We have customers on the community, how you would utilize this technology.
Cool. Well, I can't wait for you to get started. I've already learned so much from you just in your posts. Today, I get to see you live in action. Robert, go ahead. The floor is yours.
Okay. So today, a lot of people out there are this Chat GPT is something that everybody talks about. Oh, are you going to put Chat GPT? Are you going to have a Chat GPT bot? Are you going to be, using Chat GPT in your knowledge? Everybody seems to think that Chat GPT is the end all of AI. And it's really just another iteration of it. And, we really want to step back and say, okay, Chat GPT is a form of AI, yes. And it is generative. So it is a little bit smarter than what we were used to in the past. But now we have a lot more focus now on where AI is and what we can use it for, instead of focusing on this very small market of generative AI. So I just wanted people to step back and look at that and figure out AI in Genesys really means efficiency gains, okay, natural language understanding, transactional bots, and that's where Chat GPT stuff would sit most likely. And this assistive collaboration is what I call it. It's a whole area of what Genesys has deemed WEM, workforce engagement management. But it really is just assistive technologies. It's helping people to do things with an AI. And so that's what I really like, is that we're not focusing on just one area of transactional bots. We have an entire suite of AI throughout the product. Natural language understanding is what we really understand with AI. Can it understand what I say? Can it understand my intents? Can I respond back to a text to speech? That stuff has been around since, I think the 80s. So we have, it's not really a secret sauce here. It's just being able to put this all in a single thing called a bot that does, understands what you want it to do and is able to help you through that, process of what it is going to do for you. So we see that a lot. Speech analytics is also part of that. So when we talk about natural language, speech analytics, and this is really where my passion is. I have this team now that are speech analytic gurus, and that's all they do is they teach our customers to use the tools. How do we start using speech analytics instead of going and hunting and pecking through QM, with calls and trying to find bad calls? Let's use speech analytics for that. How can we use speech analytics to view topics and then find trends that we're doing? Are people great application here was a jewelry company who has a sale of the month, and they wanted to incentivize their agents to promote that sale. So he uses the topic spotting to make sure that they are saying the sale of the month. It's the Valentine's Day sale, it's the St. Patrick's Day sale, it's the April Fool's sale, whatever it may be. But those agents now get paid because they are saying certain things, and he doesn't have to go through and listen to recordings. He just says, how many topics do they have on this? And it's a very quick way to easy. It's fun for the agents because they're trying to buy each other, to go off each other and get that prize for the top mention of the sales and stuff. So it's great ways that this can be used. And we're going to see more of that. We're going to be able to understand the emotion of the call. That's something that's coming. We understand when there's over talk, that's usually when people are frustrated and talking over each other, or silence. You get that at home a lot, the silence treatment,
And
so,
how?
those types of things are going to be put in, and that's AI. That is something that AI can help with, and you don't have to be an expert in it. It's tools that are available to make use of the technology to help your job, and that's what the speech analytics and stuff is going to be doing. The other thing that I found is, right now, a lot of transactional bots, and it's very interesting. I found that there has been a 60% increase in use of bots, but there's been a 30% decrease in satisfaction of those bots. And so I think there's a bit of work to be done in understanding how people use bots and where they use bots. We also have this strange combination of Generation Z coming in who never use their phones as a phone. They use their phones as an application device. And, if you take away somebody's data, they say, what good is my phone? Well, you can make phone calls. I don't make phone calls. That's the Generation Z. And so I think we're going to see a shift between people that used to call into contact centers to those who do want to talk to bots and to use chat and other channels and stuff like that. And so there might be a swing up, but right now it frustrates people when they get a bot. They want to call and talk to somebody. They know they can do self-service on the website. They know they can email in and get answers. They're wanting to call in and talk to somebody. So we need to find ways of addressing that in a way that is meaningful to them. And I think that's where personalization, where, hey, you've called in about your bill before, maybe they're calling in again about their bill. And let's talk to them about their bill instead of just saying, what would you like to do? So, getting that real personal aspect of the transaction in there.
And also it may totally vary depending on what the issue is or what you're trying to resolve, right?
Correct. Yeah, looking into that CDP or that CRM and saying, hey, they got an open case on an RMA. You think they might be calling in about that?
Right. Yeah, it could be.
Who'd have thought, right?
Right.
And so, being able to do that within a drag and drop environment, and I can now, we have a whole team that does bots, and these are very expensive bots because it takes a lot of engineers to do this bot. But now we're turning it over to a supervisor to build. We're turning it over to this junior engineer to build because the tools are there and the tuning is there. That's the biggest part of any bot, is the tuning and getting it to really work right. That's where the know-how comes in. And that's where, you can build it, but then maybe you bring a consultant in to say, what's my bot doing? Is it helping people? Is it not helping people? Where can I help, get increase? And the new thing with intent health and some of the things we're looking at, journeys inside the bot flows and stuff like that, are going to be helping a lot in that tuning process. Because anybody can build a bot now, but how do you make a bot better? And that's really where we come into play.
Out of curiosity, on a personal note, what phase of the bot life cycle excites you the most? Do you like the pre-planning, the building, the reviewing? I mean, and if you say you like all of it, I do believe you, but I don't appreciate you taking the easy way out.
I tell people a bot is nothing but a bunch of if then else statements. Really, when you get down to it, it's just if then else. And so the building of it is just like you design a call flow, like you would design a conversation or a PowerPoint. You're just expressing yourself in an orderly way. So that part of it is just, that's just old hat there. I really like, how do you make that bot better? What tools do you have to see where the bot is failing? Where do you see the bot succeeding, and how do you replicate that across different bots? I think that's really where the fun part is really discovering where the issues lie and helping people through that. That's kind of what I do on the community every day. I just
For
see
sure.
somebody with a problem. I see all those zero, all those replies, where there's zero replies, I'll go and just hammer down those things and make sure they get replied to. So it's the same thing.
Cool. What's next?
Okay, so assistive. This is a cool field. This is something that is exploding. If you go to the App Foundry, you'll probably see 20 apps that have to deal with summarization, agent assist, knowledge, and things like this. There are so many apps out there right now coming out. Having this stuff is great, but it really helps in a couple of areas. First of all, agents, giving them an agent assist and the knowledge surfacing and the summarization, those things. QM managers, being able to do the topic spotting, the sentiment analysis, being able to search all those things instead of having to do it, and the evaluation assistance. And now supervisors with the insights and the gamification, being able to bring light into what's happening in the contact center without them going through 14 reports. These types of things I think are going to be really assisting people, and it's not replacing people. And that's what you always hear about ChatGPT. Oh, it's going to take my job. Well, no, it's going to help your job.
Absolutely. What's funny is when I was first getting into community, because I was a community consultant before I came to Genesys, the number one fear is that the community itself would take jobs away from, support or whomever. And I completely agree with you. What the community does and what bots can do, they make other people's jobs better. They allow you to be more specialized. Hopefully they take care of the questions that come up like all the time, freeing you up to then focus on bigger picture items or more niche questions or whatever.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's amazing how the community has grown. And we do see some of that next generation people really just taking the low-hanging fruit, I would call it, and being able to answer those. But from that, we get a lot of discussions, aside things that go on. Well, that's interesting. I tried that, but hey, that's a cool thing. Sure. And then I do this. So sharing those ideas, because technology can be everything, to anyone. And it's going to be different for everyone as well. And being able to share your viewpoint and how you used it will help spark ideas for others. And and a lot of times it just takes that third eye. You just need a third eye on it.
And talking to a human, not a pre-programmed bot. Who's going to answer across the board. Anyway, continue. This is fascinating.
Yeah, go ahead. So of course, this area is in the knowledge surfacing, and people always ask, well, when's Genesys going to do ChatGPT? And I said, what is ChatGPT? And they said, well, it's an AI that answers your questions. I said, no, it's not. It's generative technology, right? It's generating something. It's generating text. And that's what the summarization is that came out, 2 weeks ago or something like that, is being able to take that transcript and generate. So yeah, we have ChatGPT, not using ChatGPT, but using generative technology in the product. And you're going to see more of that. You're going to see, automatic bot building. You're going to see being able to, produce reports across the board with the technology using generative AI to bring that. Insights is kind of like that. It takes, all these metrics and this, speech analytics, puts it into gamification, and gamification into this insight, so that you can now view across the board how things, and that's going to come out probably as, let me do an agent review. Give me an agent review, and it's going to look at evaluations. It's going to look at sentiment scores. It's going to look at content. It's going to look at their talk times. It's going to look at performance, generate a report for us. And I can see that coming as part of that generative process. Lastly is efficiency gains. I think the very, very first time I heard of AI in Genesys Cloud was forecasting in WFM. And people don't realize, I just showed this the other day, and some guy said, how does it know which model to use in the forecast? And I said, because it goes through 26 different ones and figures out the best one. And he said, well, we do that too. And I said, no, you don't. You probably go about 3 of them. There's no way you could go through 26 across every single planning group and figure out what it is. And, according to your AHT or your handle times and figure out the best model. There's no way. And I said, that's what the AI is doing in the background. It is looking and figuring out the best for you. And we see that now for data entry, like taking that summarization and pop it into your CRM. That's just an efficiency gain. Saves the agent 3 seconds, but 3 seconds over a month is a lot over each of their calls. So and that's where it goes. It's finding ways of doing mundane tasks that a AI can handle to make your employees more efficient, making those agents have more time on the call instead of doing after call work and, prepping for the next call coming up. For me, I see it in my everyday work with my calendar and Outlook. I don't know if you know it. Now they have meeting insights. And when you go to a calendar invite, there's a meeting insight and it will pull back all of the data that you have. Any documents, PowerPoints, emails that you've had about that meeting will be shown in there. That's a generative AI process there that's just generating a little summary of what I know about this meeting. Because I go into meetings every day and I'm thinking, okay, can you tell us what we're talking about today? Because I have no clue. And the meeting insights is great. And I see that as, okay, this customer has called in 4 times about this RMA. They're getting frustrated because they've had poor sentiment scores go down. And we now know that we're not going to be able to get them this RMA in time. Let's get this to a supervisor who can explain that in a very clear way and make apologies and really rectify the solution. How do you make it personal? By using an AI to look at all of this data and gear that call towards the right person to be able to handle that client.
Sure, for sure. Now, Robert, I know when we were talking about this presentation, you mentioned coming up very soon, you're about to do another customer webinar about AI. When is that coming up?
So we have that on the 13th. It is on our website. If you go to
Really
ttechdigital.com, it's being advertised, but it's next Tuesday. We have a different bent on it, though. We are taking and where AI helps customers, helps agents, and helps management. So 3 areas. And we're going to be having demos. I'm playing it safe. I already recorded the demo. I know how live demos go. So we're going to have the demo showing in the background why I'm narrating what that is. So really showing this technology in those 3 specific areas. And we have one of our AI experts from our team who's going to talk about machine learning and AI and how the process of understanding how to build a bot, pretty much. And our VP of our solution consultants will be on, adding flavor as well of how customers are utilizing this as we go along. So it's an hour-long presentation about similar features of this, but more bent on those 3 focus areas with demo.
Well, will there be a recording available?
I'm pretty sure there will be. I will post it on the community. How about that?
Please do. We'll definitely make sure it's attached to this.
I shy away from advertising as much as I can on the community, but there are cases when this is beneficial. So
yeah, for sure. Cool. And sorry, I just realized you may still have some stuff left.
I don't. I think that's it, really. Awesome. Speech analytics is one of those for helping people to be more efficient in finding recordings and doing that. WFM forecasting and scheduling, we already talked about that. The scheduling, being able to take that and now being able to produce information about that. People want to see what happened in the AI process. And you can see that with the new shrinkage reports and adherence. The new historical adherence features are great. I don't know if anybody's been there yet. Go look at the new historical adherence page. Much better than the real-time page. It gives you so much information at a glance, and you can drill into agents and a beautiful update to what they did there. That's it. I don't have any more. So
thank you so much for the presentation. Really appreciate it. We will definitely make sure your webinar that you do is attached to this episode. Okay. Discussion post and all of that. You can share the recording with me or the link or whatever as necessary. Just real quick as closeout, I know you and are we going to get the chance to meet in person in Denver?
I'll be there. Yeah, I fly in Monday. Monday, I actually do a presentation for a lot of our T-Tech Digital group. It's going to be a 6-hour day on Monday from 8 a.m. about AI. And we're going to go through in detail about what AI is, how we use it in the Genesys practice, how we can bring in our other business practices, from other teams, because we have other practices in Cisco and Microsoft and Salesforce and AWS, and Google now as well. And so they have expertise in CCAI or Lex or any other these other technologies, Nuance, to be able to build bots. And so how we can bring them in when the need is. Right now, we're finding a lot where customers have a committed spend with AWS or Google, and they have to use those bots. And so, nice thing about Genesys, open platform, sure, go ahead. Let's build a bot in Google and let's bring it into our call flows.
Thank you so much for coming by and spending some time with us. Thank you for everything you've done on the community. Yep. When I say it's been a pleasure to get to know you and work with you over the years, I mean it. Yeah. I also love you play both sides of the community. You'll do the technical stuff, and then we'll see you in trivia. I think when we had a contest around song submissions, you even threw together a rhyme for that. So I couldn't appreciate you more if you tried. But just know I'm looking forward to meeting you in Denver and hope I get to buy you a free beer while we're there.
Sounds good. I give you gruff whenever you mess up on those trivia questions.
Oh, I know. I know at one point also you've called Nicole at like 6 p.m. to talk about how a question could be misleading, but we love you for it. So, so never stop. All right. Well, what's really cool is you and Nicole get to spend some time. She's actually going around. She's going to be doing a separate video where she gets to know you and some of the other rock stars in the Genesys community. I'm looking forward to seeing what comes out of it. But Robert, see you in Denver.
I will see you there. Bye-bye.
All right. What a pleasure that was. Robert, again, thank you so much for stopping by the show. I can't wait to hear your interview with Nicole when that happens. And let's go ahead and move on to our next segment where we go into the community with the Above Average Joes to answer some of your questions.
When the online community has questions and no one else can help, there's one group who can answer the call. They're pro services ready for hire. The Above Average Joes. Meet Patrick Johnson, Senior Principal Pro Services Consultant. Meet George Canal, an expert with Genesys for over 23 years.
Meet Dean Thames and his canine assistant Lulu, pros in enterprise technology for 25 years. Meet Maxim Svetov, a pro services guru who speaks 3 languages and has worked with contact centers for 19 years.
Hey, Above Average Joes. Welcome to the Above Average Joes section of the show where we go into the community and ask some questions that have typically fallen on hard times. Sometimes the questions have received no answer. Sometimes they have an answer and we just want to add a little bit more color to try to help our members out. Today, we're joined by 3 Above Average Joes, Maxim, Patrick, Dean. Welcome to the show. How are you guys?
Good, and you?
Good, how are you?
Cool, doing well. I know we got to connect a little bit before recording, and we have some questions that we're going to try to breeze through here to get some answers to our members. Let's go ahead and get started. Maxim, I know this first one is for you. Call back an architect to international number. This comes from Craig. Hi, I have a queue based in the US that receives calls from international customers as well as domestic customers. If the wait is too long, I would like to collect their number and place a callback in the queue so the next available agent can return their call. This works fine for our in-country callers, but when an international caller leaves their number, it does not get formatted properly. For example, I call into the queue and am prompted to leave my callback number. In this example, I use US Embassy in New Zealand. I enter 649, blah, 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 and then go into the queue to answer the callback. The number in the callback object is formatted as 1 plus 649, blah, blah, blah. I then tried to enter the number as 011649, blah, 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 but that doesn't appear to be formatted properly either. Any suggestions on how to get this to work for both domestic and international callers?
You can see in the thread that there was an answer provided, and it was a good answer, by the way. Yeah, basically, you need to append country code to the phone number to make it international. But I just want to add on top of that, that we have this beautiful 2 phone number function in Architect that converts the string to a phone number object. When you do that, then you can use the phone number object to get the parts of the phone number in a more convenient way. So, for example, when I press dot, it gives me option. I can either choose the whole number in E164 format, or I can choose, let's say, part of the phone number, subscriber number, dialing code. So that's really helpful. And I know that sometimes what developers do, they try to consider the phone number as a string, and then they start doing substrings and stuff like that. So when you convert it to a phone number object, you don't have to do that. The architect will do this conversion for you. So this expression will give you the international number format.
All right, perfect. All right, this next question comes from Tina. Tina wanted to know about scripting page pop-ups on random screen. Tina writes, hello, we have Salesforce integrated with Genesys CX, and our agents use the Genesys embedded client to manage calls in Salesforce. I have a script built out that is accessible in the embedded client and is presented on an incoming or outgoing call. We have a couple of agents that select the script button from the embedded client and they never see the script page, which leads them to believe the script button is not functioning. Doesn't sound very good. What's actually happening, though, is the script page is popping up somewhere else and not on the Salesforce page or anywhere they can see it. The only way these agents can use the script button is if they hover over the Chrome icons on the bottom of their screen and then click on the script page image. This is not an urgent situation, just something odd that is happening. I was hoping someone might have an idea how to get the script page to pop up where it is visible. All right, Tina, we appreciate you coming to us with this not urgent problem, and I hope we can get some advice your way. I'll go ahead and throw it over to the panel. What do you think, guys? Any advice for Tina?
I can share my screen and show you a couple of options how the script can be opened in Salesforce. So as you can see in my screen right now, I have a Salesforce open with the Genesys Cloud embeddable client, and I have an interaction ongoing. So there is a script button right here. I can click to open the script, but I can also configure the utility bar at the bottom to add the script button as a separate button. So that might be more helpful for agents. So this is more visible and easier to click. And so when I click it, it will open the screen pop-up. Also, I can add that it's very important to, when you develop your screen pop-up for Salesforce, it must be properly sized, right, to the window that will be opened, right? So because you don't have a luxury of the full scale window like when you use Genesys Cloud in Chrome directly. So it should be more, it should be sized for the Salesforce window.
All right, cool. Anybody else have anything to add on this question?
Oh, I think you nailed it.
All right, we have another question here from Emily, and I know this one is actually going to be getting a demo from Patrick, which is really cool. It's a question from Emily, our dear friend. And also, if you want to get to know Emily, she does trivia with us pretty frequently. Check her out in the Trivia Tower. Emily wanted to know about recycled time zone mapping. At the beginning of the month, the Recycle campaign for time zone mapping idea was released by Genesys. I reviewed the resource center page below, but find that it is somewhat lacking in exactly how this works. I'm wondering if anyone has started using this feature and can share what the experience has been like. We run non-preview campaigns using automatic time zone mapping, but I'm generally interested in how others are using this feature. I also had a few specific questions. Number one, must the campaign be actively running in order for the scheduled records to be called as opposed to paused, etc.? Number two, If a campaign is stopped before rescheduled records are able to be called, does the campaign fully stop or is it left in a stopping status? And then number 3, does this have any impact on the rule that, quote, a given contact list can only be on one running campaign at a time, end quote, question mark. Over to you, Patrick. What do you think?
Yeah, so I was hoping to do a little bit more of a demo, but it's not quite working for me here, but I'm still going to be able to hopefully answer your question there. So one of the things you had talked about in your question was with your campaign, when you actually go into the outbound settings, you have the ability here to do the rescheduled time zone skipped contacts, okay? And so like you were talking about with the contactable time sets, we can go ahead and create our different time zones and when we want to be able to call those. And so for this test, it is 3:36 Eastern right now. So I went ahead and set up Pacific Standard Time to be between 8 and 12 is what I want to call there. And then I actually set up a contact in my contact list to be in that time zone, okay? I'm gonna try to avoid saying contact too many times, but no promises, okay? So what I did was I loaded that contact list to the campaign and I went ahead and started that campaign. I didn't have the setting enabled at that time for the rescheduled. So what happened is when it actually skipped it and you do an export of your contact list, you can see here that the one for the Pacific Standard Time and that phone number, it'll give you a system disposition code indicating that it was a not callable time. And that was because of my time set. And with the settings, as far as in the outbound settings to have that rescheduled, it will reschedule it for the next available time. And one cool thing is that when the campaign is running, if you actually click this diagnose campaign right here, you have the ability to see time zone rescheduled calls. So if I had that enabled and all of this demo was set up and working, you should see a little one call right there ready to be rescheduled. It doesn't give you a specific time such as like 13 minutes, 15 minutes or 1 hour or whatever. It's just the next callable window. And so the way I understand how that works is that if I turned on my campaign at 8 o'clock Eastern and I am only to call, Pacific time during 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock Pacific time, then that means it would not actually put that contact into the time zone rescheduled calls until 8 o'clock their time. Of course, if I turn the campaign off, which is one of your other questions, will it continue to dial? Absolutely not. If you have the campaign turned off, or if you're using such as like a power, predictive, all of those, right, and anything outside of an agent list, it will also not dial if you don't have agents on queue and active in that queue. So those are just some different things there. And of course, you had this in your resource article, but I just would point you back to be able to reference this and do some testing there.
What do you guys think? Anything else you want to add?
Yeah, and actually, I just realized I totally skipped over the recycle part. So whenever you go to actually recycle your campaign, it will continue to dial those contacts. And as long as that contact or that number is not marked as uncallable, so when you actually export your list here, you'll have a 1 or a 0. And if the contact was actually uncallable, that would be a 0. In that situation, we would not redial that call or attempt that call again when you recycle your campaign. However, if they haven't reached their attempt limit max, or depending on your rule settings and all of that, and the contact is callable, then yes, it will redial that as long as it's within that contactable time set for that time zone.
Okay, cool. Hey, thanks for adding that information in, Patrick. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
This final question comes from Bansadar. Bansadar asks about work item flows and Architect. They write, hello, everyone. I would like to understand your thoughts on creating a work item flow in the Genesys Cloud Architect. Some functionality that comes to my mind is mentioned below. Please let me know what you think of this functionality and if you also feel it is an important feature to incorporate. Besides, you may suggest other problems, functionalities, ideas you may have in this area. Provide an ability to handle the work items more dynamically and with flexibility through Architect Flow. Like Number one, route the work item to a specific ACD or user. Number two, utilize architect solutions such as logical actions and flow actions to create complex business flows. Or three, process data, as in access built-in attributes, access custom attributes, or integration related data. Joes, this sounds like a great topic for you all. To set the stage here, we have a brand new Joe who's going to be taking a shot answering this. Dean, welcome to the show. Excited to hear your answer. And we do see Simon, a partner with us, took a shot at answering it. And Dean saw what Simon was talking about. And Simon was talking specifically about workflows for triggers. But the question was about work item flows, which I think, Dean, you're going to get into a little bit of the difference of the two and talk a little bit about what's coming. And let me get out of your way so you can just get started.
Sure. So the question about the workflows, or the answer about the workflows, they are a little bit related to each other in that these are automated processes that run in the background, and you can certainly trigger them via architect. The work item specifically is in preview currently. There are some of the APIs that are out there available for it, but I don't believe it's GA just yet. But the question or the comments in the question really do speak to the functionality at hand, right? The idea would be to take a piece of work from a disparate platform, say another CRM tool, that you want to be able to track. You want to be able to assign it to somebody and then track the progress of that task. We will be able to incorporate that into Genesys Cloud and route it to an ACD and have it be assigned to an individual. So the things that he mentions are all definitely in play. So yeah, that's a pretty interesting feature coming out. On the workflow piece, it's a little bit related, although there's not an object this is assigned to a queue, right? A workflow would be a secondary process that you could trigger and go do some work and then potentially create another action out of that. So a use case I have currently is creating a callback that's put into a queue based on an event that occurs in another conversation. So there's two different things, but they are related.
Right. Okay, cool. Patrick or Maxime, anything you all want to add in addition to this?
No, I just would say with the work items, we got a lot of cool features coming out, like Dean was talking about. It's not quite GA, but it will. So I would keep an eye on that and look out for it.
Cool. Well, Joes, hey, thanks so much for stopping by. Really wish I could see some of you all at the Experience conference that I'll be going to here in a couple of weeks. But don't worry, I will find a free beer to have in your honor while I'm there. Sure.
So nice of you.
When we get back, I can't wait to record with you guys again. Thanks for stopping by. Thank you to everyone who submitted a question. We hope our advice was helpful, and we'll see you on the next episode. All right, everyone, that concludes this week's episode. As a quick reminder, if you liked what Robert had to say today, I encourage you, please check out the recording of his webinar. Also, people like Robert, myself, the WEM experts from the previous episode, and tons of PMs that you've seen on episodes past are going to be at Experience. We can't wait to meet you there if you get the chance to join us in Colorado. That'll be starting June 19th. I'll be in the expo with Nicole, who some of you may be familiar with if you've ever won a prize from the prize wall or joined us for trivia. Speaking of trivia, July, we're going to be going back to doing our summer trivia event. We had a lot of fun doing it last year. Right now, we're in the community actively asking members like you to give us the themes that you want us to cover in this season's trivia event. So head over, let us know if you want to talk about movies, tech, book, arts, food. All options are on the table, and you're going to be helping us pick what makes it to the final round. So that being said, I'm going to sign off. I hope to see you in Colorado. If not, I'll see you in the community.
Thanks for tuning in for this week's episode. We hope it was helpful and maybe a little bit entertaining. Each week, our host and experts review community discussions and debate what content to discuss, so your voice matters. Did we miss something? Do you have a question for the show? Let us know. Join the conversation at the Genesys online community. As a Genesys customer or partner, you can create an account. Just click the sign in button found on most pages and follow the necessary instructions to create an account. Also, feel free to email us at qashow@genesys.com. We'd love to hear from you. If this is your first episode, welcome. You can view our entire archives. Go to the Helpful Links panel found on most community pages and find the QA Show archive that interests you.
Also, check out the community's prize wall for current contests and previous winners.
We appreciate your support of the show and the community. Cheers!